What's up, everybody? A little live stream action right here. I want to make this video because we just had the Inoue Butler fight. So, a topic of conversation that always comes up is the fight. After big fights, the pound for pound list, the mythical pound for pound list. I've noticed when it comes to these lists that everyone has their own criteria, and some people they go off resume, some people they go off skill set, some people they go off of longevity, what you did lately. So all this stuff is very subjective, and I hope that nobody gets too heated over this. It's just a list at the end of the day. So this is just my list. I'm gonna go through my top 10 on the pound for pound list. I'm gonna start from 1 to 10, and I'm gonna give you reasons on why I think each guy is in their position. Number one for me, as of today, December 13th, 2022, Terence Crawford. He's the number one fighter in the world for me. 3-division champion, the longest world champion in boxing. He's knocked out every single opponent that he's fought since 2014. No, I'm sorry, since 2016. Been a world champion since 2014. His versatility, his ability to switch hit. You saw it Saturday night when he fought against David Avanesian. The guy doesn't look like he's fallen off much. He has the timing, the footwork, the speed, power, ring IQ, and he's never been in a close fight. So to me, that makes him the number one guy in the game right now. Number two, Alexander Usyk. Undisputed at cruiserweight. Obviously, he holds the 3 titles they took from Anthony Joshua at heavyweight. He's been the road warrior, always winning big fights on the road. Anytime, any place, he steps up, he does it. Never really been the close fight, but I think he's been in closer fights than Crawford. The Joshua second fight where he was pretty badly hurt. The fight versus Breda, I would even say. Breda's Michael Hunter, you could even argue. I think he's great just like Crawford is, but to me, what separates Crawford from him is that Crawford, he is a better finisher than Usyk. Usyk's a great fighter. He wins rounds. He's a technician. But to me, Crawford has that extra gear and is a great finisher. But if Usyk beat Fury, I think I would have to bump him to number 1. So he's my number 2. Number 3, Naoya Inoue. Also undisputed as of today. 3-division champion. Phenomenal fighter. Great power, explosiveness, speed. And he reminds me kind of what Triple G was a few years ago at that weight. His power, the way he gets people out of there. But I think he's more explosive than Triple G. And I think he probably has more speed and better, defense. Maybe not, maybe not the chin, but his defense is he's probably a little bit better than Triple G was. Where it comes to Inoue and those other two, I think those other two have had more impressive victories at the top level, and I think they're a little bit more versatile fighters. So I have them a little bit ahead of Inoue. But with Inoue, I could definitely see an argument for him to be number 1. I could really see an argument for any of those 3 to be in any order: Crawford, Usyk, and Inoue. I think that you could have any of those 3 number 1, 2, or 3, and it would be totally reasonable. But for me, I'm going Crawford 1, Usyk 2, Inoue 3. Inoue's a monster. Completely did whatever he wanted to Paul Butler in this fight. Knocked out Donaire earlier this year in the second round in the rematch of that great fight. The first fight was a great fight. If you haven't seen it, go see it. And those are the top 3 right now, I think. Pretty clearly. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Number 4, for me, Canelo Alvarez. He's got to be number 4, even with the loss to Bivol. To me, he still has such a thorough resume. 4-division champion, undisputed, still at super middleweight. Probably has the best counter-punching ability in boxing. Great balance, great chin, great defense. His resume is just crazy. The only reason why I don't have him higher is because of the loss to Bivol, even though it was a loss to, a light heavyweight. Still, you went up there, You lost, and then you didn't rematch that guy. You went back down at 168 to fight a guy who never fought at 168, Triple G, who you already fought twice, and you beat him clearly, but you didn't even stop old, aging, shot Triple G. So to me, I can't put Canelo higher than number 4. But if Canelo beats Bivol, then yeah, Canelo would be my number 4. He'd be my number 1 if he rematched Bivol and beat him. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Canelo is going to fight John Ryder and whatever, But still number 4. I don't think a loss just ruins you altogether. I give him his credit. Canelo's a beast. He was my number 1 going into the Bivol fight, even though I think Crawford's more gifted. Just the resume of Canelo was just too ridiculous. Number 5, Errol Spence Jr., 3 belt holder in the welterweight division. Beat Kell Brook, beat Sean Porter, beat Ugas, stopped Brook and Ugas, beat Mikey Garcia, beat Danny Garcia, Lamont Peterson. He's got a good run of wins. The thing, though, with him and Crawford, to me, why I don't have him ahead of Crawford is, even though he holds more world titles in his weight class right now that they're both in, Crawford's a 3-division champion, was undisputed, and Spence didn't do that. And Spence was in a close fight with Porter that was like really, neck and neck, razor tight. Terence Crawford stopped Sean Porter. Terence Crawford stopped Kell Brook quicker than Spence did. I know Brook was a little bit older at the time, but Spence is a beast, great fighter. And if he were to fight Crawford and beat Crawford, he'd be number 1. So that's why they got to get it on. Spence has a great work rate, great chin, good defense, good power. With him, I don't know if he has the versatility that, the guys that I put ahead of him have, minus Inoue. But it's all about effectiveness, and I got him number 5 in the game. Number 6, Dimitri Bivol, beat Canelo, beat Gilbert Ramirez, fighter of the year this year, no question to me. Beat Joe Smith, has been the longest reigning champion at the same weight class in boxing right now. Great fighter, great technician, and I want to see him fight Artur Beterbiev, and then he could climb up even more if he became undisputed at light heavyweight. But he's a straight-up beast, cold killer, probably got the best distance control in boxing. Him and Shakur Stevenson, you could, 1 and 1A in that. Very, 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 very gifted fighter, and he's had a very thorough resume. I think number 6 is where he belongs. Number 7, I'm going to go with the big guy. I'm going to go with Tyson Fury. 1 belt, beat Klitschko, beat Wilder twice by KO. The draw in the first fight was debatable. Knocked out White, knocked out Chisora. He's a beast. Straight up, man, he gets underrated, I think, on the pound for pound stuff because he's a heavyweight. And when you're a heavyweight, people want to show love to the lower weights. But he's a pound for pound fighter for sure. And if he beat Usyk, he's in the top 3 or 4 for me. So, yeah, I don't have him higher because he never unified. He never beat Joshua, Usyk, Joyce, Ruiz. He never beat any of those other guys. And those fights with Wilder, first one and the third one, were way too close for me to put him ahead of some of these other guys. But number 7 is a good spot for him. That's where he belongs. Number 8, Artur Beterbiev, 3 belt holder at light heavyweight. Could make an argument he's even ahead of Bivol, but I go Bivol ahead because Bivol outclassed Gilbert Ramirez and beat Canelo. Artur Beterbiev's knocked out every single opponent he's been in the ring with. He's the only world champion in boxing to do that. Knocked out Joe Smith earlier this year. I was in the house. It was pretty crazy. Knocked out Gvozdyk. Knocked out what's his name? What's the dude's name? Marcus Brown. Power, physical strength, brute. Maybe not the most, skillful and the most polished, but when it comes to just straight up effectiveness and knocking people out and being the bully in there, he is unprecedented in boxing. Artur Beterbiev deserves more love. I don't see him on a lot of people's pound for pound list for some reason, but to me, he should be on there. Number 9, Shakur Stevenson. Shakur, to me, from a talent standpoint, probably is already in the top 5, but from a resume standpoint, I can't put him up there yet. Outclassed Valdez, outclassed Herring, outclassed Consejo. Even though he's not undisputed and some other guys are, I think he should be ranked ahead of them. The dude is an absolute beast. The guy barely loses a round. I mean, he will be the number one guy pound for pound, I think, in due time. He will be that guy because he has the skill set to do it. This guy is truly gifted. Couldn't make the 130-pound weight anymore, but all the lightweights got to be on check because Shakur Stevenson is coming. And I got number 10, Jermell Charlo, undisputed champion, held it down, all these years. Even though he lost to Tony Harrison, I thought that was debatable. I had to draw in the fight with Brian Castano, which was a draw. I honestly thought Castano won the fight. So, I think that Jermell Charlo, though, he knocked out all four of his opponents, Lubin, Harrison, Rosario, and Castano, to be, undisputed. To me, that's a big deal. He didn't just beat one guy for all the belts. He beat four different people and really cleaned the division out. I know he never fought Jarrett Hurd. Well, what could you do? It's not his fault. Jarrett Hurd lost to Julian Williams, and Julian Williams lost to Jason Rosario. But undisputed is impressive. And I think for me, I will put Jermell Charlo ahead of guys like Devin Haney and Stephen Fulton, even though they're undisputed as well and they're undefeated because he beat more quality opponents. Whereas a guy like Devin Haney, he only beat Kambosos. That's really his only high-level win. And credit to Kambosos for beating Teofimo Lopez, but he's one of the most basic undisputed champions probably ever. Let's just be honest about George Kambosos. And he did beat him twice. They weren't close fights. I give Haney's credit, but I can't put Haney ahead of Charlo. And Stephen Fulton, the fight with Figueroa was too close, too closely contested for me to put him on that spot ahead of on this pound for pound list and ahead of Jermell Charlo. Other guys that just missed the cut, Josh Taylor. I know he's was undisputed, but I thought he really lost to Catterall, so I got to take him out. And Lomachenko as well. I know he has a great resume, but if we're just being honest, since losing to Tio, he knocked out Nakatani, good win. Went the distance, but clearly won versus Comey. Solid win, good win versus a former champion. But he's been off for some time, Lomachenko, and he came back in the ring and not only, didn't look good, but he didn't look good versus another guy that was not even in the top 10 versus Jermaine Ortiz. He doesn't hold any world titles, so to me, it wouldn't be right to put Lomachenko in the top 10 right now, especially when you have a guy, Devin Haney, who's in his weight class and is undisputed. Now, if Lomachenko beats Haney or Haney beats Lomachenko, then of course they would both be in the top 10. So those are guys that just missed the cut. Let me see the comments. Usyk, Inoue, Bivol. Okay, so my top three is Crawford, Usyk, Inoue. I got Bivol number 6. I'll run down the list one more time. 1, Terence Crawford. 2, Usyk. 3, Inoue. 4, Canelo. 5, Bivol. No, 5, Spence. 6, Bivol. 7, Tyson Fury. 8, Artur Beterbiev. 9, Shakur Stevenson. And then 10, I'm going to go with Jermell Charlo. There are other guys that are in the mix. Some people do have Bivol as high as top 3. I hear that. I just don't think that, he didn't beat, the number one, the other top guy in his weight class, which is Artur Beterbiev. If you look at those other guys, Inoue, undisputed, Crawford, undisputed, and Usyk was undisputed. Yeah, Canelo's ahead of Bivol. Canelo's in his 4th weight class, and Canelo is still undisputed at 168. So, yeah, Canelo's ahead of Bivol. I mean, he moved up to a new weight class. He already fought there versus Kovalev, but yeah, he's got to be ahead of Bivol. But I understand that argument too. But to me, Canelo was number 1, and he moved up to a new weight class to fight an undefeated fighter and lost, but he didn't get knocked out. He didn't get embarrassed, in my opinion. So, I understand that, but Canelo, he was champion at 154, unified at 160, undisputed at 168, and he even held the title at 175 versus a faded Kovalev. So, I mean, Bivol, he beat Canelo, he beat Gilberto Ramirez, he beat Joe Smith, but I can't put him ahead of Canelo. I got him number 6. Yeah, I guess you could say he got schooled, but it's to me, it's like Canelo's body work is just too much greater as a whole, and I'm not going to just throw him out of the, throw him out of the, top 5 just because of one loss. He was my number one guy, so I can't just remove him. And I don't think it just works that you just leapfrog him. Like I don't think it works like that. It's like when Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko. Like he didn't just leapfrog him. I mean, to me, that would even be more because Lomachenko was in that weight class. Canelo went to a new weight class, so I could hear arguments for Bivol, but I think 6 is a good spot. Yeah, I agree. His performance for Triple G was average, and that's why he's number 4 Canelo for me. Now, if Canelo beats Bivol in the rematch, he's back to number 1 as far as I'm concerned, because nobody in boxing has a resume like Canelo. He fought champion after champion after champion. He became undisputed in 1 year at 168. No one's done that recently. So I'm not talking about like Devin Haney beating one guy. I'm talking about beating 3 straight very good fighters. So yeah, I think Bivol is phenomenal. I think Bivol and Spence for that 5th spot. I have it either way, but Bivol schooled Zerto, but Spence knocked out Ugas. So and Spence probably has more high-level wins at welterweight than Bivol does at light heavyweight. But I'm a big Bivol guy too. I got him number 6. But that's the thing with the pound for pound list. It's always very interesting, and it always sparks a big debate. But yeah, I think that's the top 10. I'm just running through it again. Crawford 1, 2 Usyk, 3 Inoue, 4 Canelo, 5 Spence, 6 Bivol, 7 Fury, 8 Artur Beterbiev, 9 Shakur Stevenson, and 10 Jermell Charlo. I believe Bivol beats Beterbiev. If he does do that, he's definitely in the top 5. But I don't agree with that. I think Beterbiev knocks Bivol out. But that's a legit 50-50 fight. I don't have a problem with someone saying that. I mean, to me, the winner of that fight definitely jumps in. But I like this trend of undisputed. We need Bivol Beterbiev. We need Crawford Spence. We need Fury Usyk. We need all these matchups to completely know who is the best. Because all this stuff about guys just having multiple champions in the same weight class, it's not good. It's not good for current boxing. So yeah, I that's my list.